you're happy. Try to find that happiness. So it's more subtle, more like more pure in a way. So
Yeah. I really relate to that a lot. Like, because there are some moments, but it's so tricky. It's so tricky because there are moments where I'll be like, I'll able to sort of relax, and I guess the PT, like the feeling like a winner and stuff, will, and like the bodily euphoria will decrease, and I can kind of just relax a bit into it. But then there'll be a time after that where, like, it's like I just get like angry at myself or something. Like some anger comes up and I just go, and then I go into anger, but I'm enjoying the anger because anger, like we talked about before, it's like so tricky because it like
yeah,
hooks you in. It
like
makes you like really in, like anger is like kind of pleasant in a way because when you're angry, you don't want to stop being angry, and then I'll get really angry, and then that'll turn into like the happiness, and it kind of is that. Yeah, but thank you though, thank you. Yeah, I that's sort of what I've intuited as well. Is like just try to relax, just relax and stuff instead of like feeling like I think a lot of it is just like trying to relax. That's kind of what I
Yeah,
got from what you just said, at least.
yeah, like
Is that what you
kind of
think?
coming. Oh, sorry. Yeah, like coming back even to the basics, like even like the first four like sort of aspects of Anapanasati and being more just focused on like the long in breath and out breath, and then like the paying attention to the bodily sensations and then relaxing those. And that even can go because I was practicing this a bit like with my morning sit. I was like feeling like okay, I kind of want to go more into relaxation and not want, you know what I mean, but just like that's kind of where I'm going to take this. And so it was more just that very, you know what I mean, just sort of basic things and just relaxing the sensations, you know what I mean, and just going more into that rather than like a really far out there like investigation, but just yeah, going into like, oh, okay, this is just nice and relaxing. Yeah, and just being satisfied too with that, right? Like it's just
Yeah, that's
some
really
good
good what you just said.
satisfaction.
Yeah, like being
Yeah.
able to be satisfied without being this like super energetic person, being able to be satisfied with just like slowing things down.
Hmm.
In the
Yeah.
in the seven factors of awakening, tranquility comes after pity.
Hmm.
So that's the order. So just to like a reminder, it's like investigate, it's mindfulness, investigation of states, energy,
Mm.
Hmm.
and pity,
Pissy.
and
Yeah.
this is where you're at, and then you get to tranquility, and then samadhi and concentration. Although samadhi really is gathering up all the other factors together, so kind of samadhi could come last,
That's
but
cool. That's
in the
cool.
order it's sorry, equanimity is the final one. Samadhi, equanimity, and yeah, so it's tranquility is a natural result of the
Hmm.
practice. It should naturally arise when you
Mm.
get tired of the piti, basically, and then you just allow that
Do you think that will
tranquility
happen on its
to
own eventually?
pervade.
Like I'll eventually just get tired of it because it
Yeah,
feels like it's self.
but
It's like it's once. This is like a weird way to say it, but it's like it's self like generating. Like I'll relax,
it's
and then I'll
addictive.
relax, and I'll feel kind of sad because I lost like the PT, and then like I won't let myself feel sad, and I'll like become angry again, and then I'll spike that back into like feeling like I'm like really all powerful being, and like I can cancel any negativity I want. I can do whatever I want now. I got the Dhamma, and I go back to PT, and then when I'm in PT, it's like yeah, and I'm like. I'm also like more impulsive as well. Like I'm less like self control. Like I'm talking, like interrupting people, like not caring what people think of me. Like, which I honestly like. I don't care. Like I'd rather be socially anxious than like not care what people think of me. You know. I feel like that's healthier, and it's healthier for others because I feel like I like in some of my relationships like like with my boyfriend Mike, like I've just been like an asshole. You know, like just like ignoring his messages and stuff, and just it, it's not good. It's not good to be that detached. I think. It's like yeah, I don't know. But I really
But you're
like what you
judging.
said.
Okay, but you're in a hindrance right now of like judging, like because you're just sitting there like, it's not good. You
Ah,
want the change, and like it's okay. Like, it's just what it is. We're not perfect. We're
Mhm.
humans, right? And like just accepting, like fully accepting like ourselves and like being okay with being imperfect, you know.
Well,
Like,
right now, but we always aim to remove the defilements.
yeah.
That's the goal of the practice. Not like pessimistic. Okay, we're imperfect. We're going to be imperfect forever. No, we're imperfect, but we
Right.
aim higher.
Right.
And something that I want to point out, Joe, is you said like tranquility will arise naturally, and we gotta understand something that nothing really arises naturally. That's not how things work. It arises because we want it to arise. Like there is the desire for it to arise, like deep inside in the mind, like deep inside, we want these things to happen, so they happen. That's why it doesn't arise naturally, and
I like that.
tranquility
I like that.
also
That's a
it
cool way
doesn't
of like,
arise
thinking
naturally.
of it. Like it's deep
Maybe
down,
like
I really do want to be like equanimous and peaceful and conduct myself in a manner that's
yeah. So
like
you should
correct.
create the environment that allows these things to happen, and do some effort for that. You can relax your body. In everyday practice, you don't engage in conflicts. You do good stuff. You help others. Do merit, right? Be generous, helping others. That kind of stuff. That makes your mind tranquil, right? It helps the practice a lot. There's the effort that we put in, and in meditation and tranquility, you can like make your body tranquil, and you can, if you're sensitive to your mind, you make it tranquil. That's also you do it. It doesn't arise naturally. Like don't sit
Oh,
and
that's
wait. Oh, where's tranquility? When's going to arise? No, effort.
oh, that's what you said. Actually, be sensitive when you're sensitive to your mind. I noticed in myself that I'm actually not that sensitive to mind. I'm kind of because I'm so focused on just doing the technique and sustaining my happiness and not falling into like really bad hindrances where like I feel like I'm like a bit like I'm like really feeling strong negative emotions and stuff. Like, but being able to like have like still tap into like the same like being sensitive to myself and stuff and like what I'm feeling, even you know like I feel like I'd go to like block my emotions or I'd be too sensitive. It's like I want to be here, like not feeling the hindrances, but also be when the mind is sensitive, like that's gonna like sort of reveal that I do really want the tranquility, and then I'll like go towards it. That's kind of like what I've concluded.
But the tranquility
I
is
might
like
be future
super
rising or
mundane,
something.
you know. So the equanimity are both like super mundane. So it's like you're wanting emotions to have this stability or this constancy, but you're looking at things that are not like of the same nature of what you're looking at. So that's what I'm hearing, and I just know because I've been there too, like too focused on the emotions and stuff.
Yeah. You know, emotions is like if it's an egg, the emotions is the shell. It's outside. It's like the drawing. It's not the essence of it. The essence is the clinging. You know, emotions are created by like it's fabricated, and like if you stay on the emotion, like you don't go deep into your meditation. It stays on the surface. If you want to go deep, where's the clinging? You should ask yourself, where's the clinging? Where am I attached? What's where my mind wants to go? What my mind likes? What does it like? What does it dislike? Maybe you had an argument in the day, and like in the back of your mind, you're still thinking about it. Maybe you have homework, you're stressed over exams, and in the back of your mind, you're not really relaxed, and you're thinking about that's an attachment, right? Maybe like you have something that you want to do. That's the attachment that you really that creates the emotion. Like, what does it create the emotion? You should ask yourself that. Right?
So it's not
What
just
is
like
your
I'm creating
motivation
the emotions
to
myself.
attention? That's the real deal.
Yeah. Do you think it's like I'm kind of like these things that I'm unaware of are creating the emotions, I'm ignoring it, and then I think it's me creating the emotion, but really it's like these attachments, but I'm just not aware that it's actually those attachments. Like kind of like psychotherapy-ish thing. Do you know what I'm trying to ask? Like, because I feel like it's me creating like these emotions. Like I choose to feel happy.
I would answer, but I want to hear Muhammad's answer because he feels like an awesome Dharma teacher right now.
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
giving me good advice so far.
I honestly
the
could
past.
not catch with you because you really speak very fast and
I'm sorry.
honestly, it's
I'm sorry.
not.
So the question is like, I feel like I'm responsible for creating the emotions.
Yes,
But
of course you.
do you think like I'm actually like attached to something, but I don't know I'm attached to it, and then that attachment is creating the emotion, and it's not just like me making it because I want to feel good, or it's kind of confusing. I'm sorry.
Yeah, well, the first part is true. We all create our emotions. We created ourselves, whether we are aware of it or not. And we should bring light to how we create these things so we can create good emotions. Create good emotions and get rid of bad emotions. Okay, like, I don't know what's in your mind, like what's your life and these things, but like some general guidelines, for example, if you're feeling guilty, you did something bad and you're feeling guilty about it, so you're going to think that bad deed that you did in the past is going to arise and it's going to make you unhappy. That's an attachment. You should like forgive yourself, say okay, it's in the past, and you should accept also, you should, that's a very important part, you should accept the consequences of what you did. You did something bad, okay, you should be okay with whatever consequences is going possibly is going to happen in the future, and that thing is gonna go away when you do it right. It's going to go away. And you know, different attachments, you deal with them in different ways, and you should see like what is it in your life that is creating the emotion, what's like the problem in your life
That's what I'm gonna
creating
do.
it.
I think I'm
And you
gonna do
should
that.
deal with it, and you are
That's what I was
capable of
ignoring.
dealing with it.
I'm gonna do it anyway. I'm gonna answer my own question and just see for myself like what's actually like creating all this stuff. Start like linking up the cause and effects and stuff.
Yeah, I mean that's true. That's truly looking into karma. You know, is that like when the conditions?
Karma, yeah, that's true.
Well, but it's not. I'm not saying karma like, you know, but that's what it means is cause and effect, right? Is that
Yeah,
when
I didn't think of it
when the
like that.
conditions when the
Yeah.
conditions arise,
I never really think about karma at
then
all. I kind of
something
just like
manifests.
ignore
So
that.
when you have the conditions for sadness, then it arises, you know, and the whole of dependent origination that Muhammad is getting at is trying to break this chain and look at it and see it, you know.
What it is it's like I know Daniel Ingram talks about this in Mastering Prostitution Buddha, even though I don't experience it the way he describes it, because I think he talks about like extreme versions of it. But it's kind of like a cycle of I get really happy for a couple of weeks, and then I go back to like sad and afraid, and then
But you're just in
happy and
storytelling. You're in
angry, sad and
storytelling.
afraid. Happy
You're in
and angry,
storytelling
sad and
mode
afraid.
right now, and you're not in touch with like the present, you know. Because like
Dude, that's
we all
so
do this.
tricky though. Like I
We
have to
all
be in
do
touch
this
with
to
the present, but
ourselves. Is that
also
we create
notice
this
the kind of like
story and this idea and this like permanent sort of internal dialogue of like trying to inherently make something permanent that is like a constantly shifting target.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, dude, this is so
very well.
complicated, man. Like, and
Also,
I relate to what you're
ask-
saying. Like, I
I
know what you're
also want
saying.
to ask, when you are happy, you say you're happy for a while, then you get sad. When you're happy, are you attached to that happiness, that state of happiness?
No, it feels natural. But I
Yeah.
actually no. I only notice I'm attached to it after I come out of it. But when I'm in it, I don't
But
notice
you
I'm
were
attached.
attached to it.
Yeah.
And meanwhile, you
When I'm in
notice
it, I
it when
don't
it's
feel like
gone.
it. And I've been trying to notice this. Like when I'm in it, I'm like, I'm not attached to anything right now. I'm chilling. But then when I'm out of it, it feels like I'm attached to something. Like I don't, like I'm somehow like resisting something to like, but when I'm in it, I don't actually feel like
You have to look.
happy.
You have to look deeper. You have to look deeper though, because like it's like this. It's like when you're at the bar and you see everybody and they're all laughing and smiling. If you really look a little bit deeper underneath the surface, there's definitely clinging underneath there. You know, even if you're in the moments.
Yeah,
Or
like I feel like the
anything
perfect
like that.
metaphor is like those, you know, those like rap music videos where the rappers are all like you know, we shot your gang. We are the best gang. Everything's lit in our gang. Your gang sucks. You know, those like rap songs, and they're all like super happy and like confident. That's like exactly kind of like how I feel.
Well, we all
And
we all feel that. We all get
but
lost.
but
We
when
all
I'm
get
out
lost
of
in
that
that
state,
in
it
the
feels like
moment.
I'm when I was in that state, like that wasn't like the true like happiness. Even though like I'm sad now, this is like more relaxed. Even though I'm like sad, but then I get angry again. It repeats. I'm actually realizing this as you're explaining it, by the way, guys. So this, like, I'm even though I'm not like technically like replying to what you're saying, you're helping
Just
me like
so
understand
the
a lot.
best tip that I would have is the next time that you're in that state, when it just happens to arise, is just look at the impermanence of that state, you know, of like,
Mhm.
because you can be in that state and you can, it's the same of like when a lot of times when like we're giving advice on like, okay, invite in your darkness, and you can maintain sort of equanimity with it, and be okay with the darkness being present within you. The same can be true of like an overly exuberant state where, you know, naturally you're in a party situation and you just feel good, right? That's just how it is. You're in this sort of like flow state or whatever. But if you actually like examine that too, there's going to be a subtle part of yourself that is going to say, I want this to continue uh, permanently, you know?
But
And
then I know the
yeah,
teaching. But then I recall the teaching, and I say, oh, that's an attachment. And because I'm already so happy, it's so easy for me to just let it go. And then I don't want it to
perfect.
continue. Or at
Yeah,
least
no,
I feel that
yeah.
way. I don't know, man. It's confusing.
Yeah, I mean, the thing that's kind of interesting
Sorry
too.
for like kind of
Oh,
like arguing with what you're saying. I'm just trying to like get to an understanding. I guess it's kind of how I learn.
yeah.
But anyway, go on.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say, like, even with the aha, I see you, Mara, right? Or X hindrance, right? You're kind of getting into a thing of the impermanence because it's like shifting, right? Already the thought shifted, but also, I mean, because these are all connected. The anatta, like the understanding of non-self. I am not that hindrance. I'm not that thought. That thought is something which has arisen within, like, you know, experience, enjoying the show, right? It has arisen, it will pass away, and I've already spotted it. It's glad now, right? And so I think you don't have to go super deep when you're just like, okay, you know what? I don't have to worry about
Yeah,
that
but
right now.
as
This
soon as
is
I
the
do, yeah,
time
no,
to
but as
just,
soon as I
yeah,
do that,
yeah,
as soon as I do that, I'm glad now. It's
yeah,
like
exactly.
I'm glad now. Nothing matters. I don't have to care about like if DJ likes me, and then like I just like will
Yeah, no,
run my
I
mouth
mean,
and like
you
say
don't
things that
have
might
to
be
care. You
offensive.
don't have to care if I like you. Like, that's just it. That doesn't
Yeah, but
mean
I
that
do
I
have
won't
to
like
act
you.
like I care.
Now you can, yeah, I mean, well, like, you don't have to care, you know, necessarily what I think about you, but I think, yeah, definitely there is a thing where you can still be
That's what I mean
careful. You
about
can
the
still
anger
be
and like the
courteous.
like
You can still,
just
but you can
feeling
do,
mad.
yeah,
It's like one or the other. It's like
yeah.
I don't know, dude. I don't know.
Yeah, you can do that from a place of like, it's okay. Like, you know what I mean? And I might mess up here or there or whatever, but it's okay. You know what? Because we're coming back to the here now. We're coming back to the breath. And because again, you were talking about like, you know, perhaps difficulties like relaxing or like sleeping or what have you at times, right? Or perhaps being like on more of the pity end. And also too, Joe, I must admit that was really good advice as well, or just a really good point, right? Because this is the thing too. It's not just for like Robert, it's for all of us. It's just, hey,
Right.
this is good reminders, right? This is good stuff, you know, just to remember. And so the idea that you don't have to fight the pity when it comes up, right? And it depends on how, again, being like, oh, pity is just that sensation. And it's like, no, like, that's the interesting thing with Dhammarato. I believe he pointed out, well, it's not just the sensation, it like, you know, bodily sensations of it, right? Like it's not just that, right? It's kind of the attitude, right? But when those sensations come up, you can just notice them. But then I think there can still be kind of an intent, a will to relax it a bit, but not
I,
through fighting it, just
I've
being
come.
like, yeah,
While
yeah,
listening to what you were saying about not fighting with the pity, I sort of was practicing. I was practicing the technique, and specifically, I wasn't just trying to always gladden the mind. So I was going back in between, like the two sort of states, because there's like these two sort of states that I get into, where one is like, and what I sort of came into an insight. Maybe this can help you guys help me out here, and I appreciate it a lot. Thank you very, very much for taking the time out of your day to answer my really sort of bizarre side effects of practice problem thing. But it was kind of like I gladden the mind, and it's sort of like I lose like my humanity a little bit. Like, and by that I just mean like caring about things. It's like I'm just cool. I'm just chilling, and then.
Well, you start, okay, so there's
like it feels perfect. It
practice.
feels like perfection. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I'm perfectly happy. No hint. Like I don't sense that I'm subtly, unconsciously resisting something when I bring that up.
Something that we should.
The only time I feel like that is when I like let it go, either by forgetting or just now when I was sort of trying to consciously let it go and consciously start caring what you guys think of me, which was kind of like my cue to like reintroduce hindrances.
Okay, Robert, like something that it should be clear. The notion of happiness. We speak about happiness. We've spoken about it for a while. But what is it? Happiness. What's the Buddhist perspective about happiness? Well, the true happiness, like the true, underline the true. The true happiness is peace, and that's it. No other happiness other than peace. I think it's a line in the suttas. There is no other happiness than peace. So I don't know if you read the book of Buddhadasa, Hunger and is it Happiness and Hunger or something
Happiness
like that?
and
There's
Hunger,
an elephant.
I skimmed it. I skimmed all of them. I never really went deep with the text. I just skimmed them all because I wanted to get an overview really quickly.
That's a very good book, and it speaks about that happiness. What is it the happiness that the Buddha speaks about? Is it the happiness, I don't know, getting drunk, or I don't know? It's happiness. People who do it, they say they're happy, right? They say they're happy. Is it the happiness that the practice does? No, it's not. The true happiness is peace, the satisfaction that you are already satisfied. The absence of craving is the third noble truth, the cessation of suffering, the cessation of dukkha nirodha, the absence of the clinging. There's no clinging. You're satisfied. Like you're thirsty, and then you're not thirsty anymore. Yes. That's it.
Yeah, but like let's say like
that's the happiness that
like,
you want to get, but the happiness of being active, of being excited, and really getting excited, it's not true happiness. It's dukkha, but you don't.
It doesn't feel like dukkha. It doesn't feel like dukkha. Like let's say like okay, like I know. I have like an urge to hit my vape, and that's like wrong because it's like nicotine. It's addictive, and I need to quit eventually. But like I can resist that urge. And then that creates dukkha, or I can just give into it. And technically, there's like nothing wrong with giving into it because I'm just feeling happy. And then it's like I'm sort of like I don't really have much like self-control, but I don't care, and I'm still perfectly happy. So like, which is it? Like dukkha, but I have to overcome these like things, or just like be happy and not care about these things. Like, which do I pick?
It's still the mundane. As long as you have the appearance of a choice, it's still the mundane. It's when it literally doesn't matter, and when it's
but when it literally doesn't matter, I do all the wrong shit and I run my mouth and I like.
It changes because there's a point where you see
you don't give a shit, but are you satisfied? You can don't give a shit, but you're not satisfied. You're being miserable. You don't give a shit.
Right.
It's about the satisfaction. It doesn't matter whether you give a shit or not.
But there's nothing.
There's nothing.
Yeah, there's nothing to give a shit about. That's the key at the bottom of it. There isn't anything. It's just like it's empty at the bottom of it. We create our own meaning.
Then why do I care about overcoming like the subtle desire to hit my vape and like? Well, if I can just not care about it and hit it. And
things like that, like mundane things, like they just sort of like. Yeah, I mean. It's difficult because you have to put effort forward in the correct wholesome direction, but you can't do it like the Catholic Church basically, and it doesn't really work.
I don't even know. I don't know how to. I don't know how to be motivated without suffering, man. That's I think what I was realizing. Like I was funny because I feel like a hypocrite saying this because I was saying to DJ that I'd like figured it out, but when I was saying that was after a week of being in this arrogant like I'm the king of the world state. So like I was like the leader of
Robert, there's nothing to be motivated for. That's the key. It's like there's nothing to be motivated for. It doesn't matter. Like it's all pointless. You have to get to the point where you like realize that though, and that you're creating like your own meaning. And like that's the point, you know. But you're gonna get to the point, I think, at least I did, where like everything was very clearly pointless and meaningless, you know. And I was like, holy
I'm
shit,
already at that
how
point. I already know it's like
how
pointless.
freeing
Like,
that I can create my own meaning, you know. And yeah, it's, I don't know, it's different, but it's
so why
definitely.
would I want to create my own meaning if it's
Yeah,
pointless?
well,
Like, why would I want to
that thing
unless
is
I
right. But
induce a
the other part of
purposely induce suffering?
everything that doesn't have really meaning, that it's true. Like, really, there is no meaning. Like, you create the meaning. So every meaning that you think it's important, there's an attachment in that meaning. There is suffering in that attachment. So what you want to do, like, that meaning does not really matter. So there's really no meaning, and you're kind of free. You don't really have to add meanings. The meanings that we put is in terms of the practice. Like, we give meaning to virtue and to like renunciation and generosity because it leads to the goal. But meanings in themselves, really, there's no meaning. I don't know if you can really put it into practice or not. Like, I don't know. But yeah, it's true. It's kind of liberating. I don't know if you try it, maybe it can help.
Yeah, and what Dhammarato says about this is, I've heard him often say that, like, just like don't make too many like I think when I was discussing this with him a little bit, and he was like, you know, just don't create too much, you know, like it's you're just okay right now, you know. Like you don't have to like sit here and like, yeah, come up with all these strategies and like, yeah.
Yeah, I think that's a good thing to bring up, because it's like, you know, the smallest amount of satisfaction is good enough, right? It doesn't have to be
that's,
like.
No, that's the problem. That's the problem.
Yeah.
Is it's good enough. I feel good enough. I feel good enough, not like quitting nicotine and not like reaching tranquility. Like I feel.
But there's
good
no
enough.
problem.
That's the problem.
But there's no problem.
But then
But you have to just keep telling yourself that, you know, that like.
I think a lot of it is wanting to do things. It's wanting like people to like me, and it's wanting to take right speech, and it's wanting to take right action and right livelihood, and
they all come,
well, not livelihood, but
in all of them, and all of those things, like they come out of right view, like and to get right view is to understand the Four Noble Truths. So all of those come like by looking at the Four Noble Truths, you know. So you can't have right speech if you haven't like fully looked into it, and like, you know, that's just part of it, you know. It's a big problem that a lot of people, they take up sila and they like try to fix their sila till it's like perfect, and they're a person that like they want everybody to like them, and they want to be compassionate, and they want to be all these things, but then like you haven't got the right view, you know. And the Buddha says right view comes first, you know. That's just how it is, you know. And it's a result of wisdom, you know.
And by right view, you mean not being in the
understanding the Four Noble Truths.
Understand. So that there's suffering, so suffering's going to come up again in the future, right? There's a way out.
There's dissatisfaction. There's dissatisfaction.
There's a way out of it.
And dissatisfaction is caused by clinging.
By clinging.
You know, like
and there's a way out of it, which isn't
itself. Yeah. The dukkha is the tension. I don't have any better word to say it. It's the tension. That's the dukkha. There's.
But what if I feel tension and I'm not suffering the tension? And what if I feel tense, but I still feel fine? Like I still feel fine even if I'm tense. Like because I can say good enough. It's good enough that I'm tense, and then I'm fine, but I still feel tense, and I'm still restless, but I'm not resisting the restlessness, and I'm still.
What do you mean by fine? Are you enjoying it?
Yeah.
That's dukkha. You should be sensitive to it. And right view tells you that you don't have to. Like, you're like taking happiness from it. Well, you don't have to. You don't have to really. You don't have to enjoy it. You can be happy without it. You can be like. You enjoy it to get satisfied. You enjoy the tension to get satisfied. But you can be satisfied without enjoying the tension. I don't know if you get it. If you understand it, you can be satisfied without. Like don't
Yes.
do the whole loop.
I understand what you're saying. I think I understand what you're saying. So with the vape example, I want to take a hit. I stop myself, and even though I know that I can be an addict and still be happy, I'm actually like a level up. So I'm like more like I'm a level up. So even though I know I can, I choose not to, which induces suffering, and then I enjoy that suffering as well. So I'm still doing the right thing, but I'm also like enjoying.
You're still phrasing it in terms of right and wrong, though. Like I think that's kind of, I don't know.
Yeah, man. It's just tricky because my brain has this simple thing now from doing this technique for so long, where as soon as I feel any form of suffering, I just neuroder it. I don't care. So I'll just be like, nope, it's out of here, and then I'm chilling. But then like I don't care about it. I don't know, man. That's why it's confusing. Like, I know I'm doing a lot of like thinking in black and white and stuff, but I don't know how not to think. It's like,
well,
I mean, like Keyshawn said Keyshawn said like this is one a really big turnaround moment that for me as well. Was like Keyshawn said like I learned that putting my hand in this fire like sucks, so I took it out, and then I was like, oh yeah, I'm purposefully causing myself to suffer, so I stopped doing that. But the like, you know what I mean? It's like I'm thinking maybe I'm thinking actually lately like maybe I should do like a sort of like a home retreat or something where I just like cut off all my technology and I like lock myself in my room and I just have like no like stimulus to go to. Maybe that'll just heal it. Come
visit me at my farm. I can't,
man.
It's a lot more pleasant
my
here
US
than
visa takes like 10 months to process. It's in process, so I could in 10 months, but
okay. Well, it's a lot more pleasant than like sitting in your room, and we can do that. We'll take the technology away thing.
Well, I was gonna say though, I don't think it necessarily like has to be though, right? Like, I mean, to a certain degree, right? Because I mean, there it's like, okay, like if we go to this, it's gonna be, better, right? And so it's just like, I don't know, sometimes it's just like take that deep breath, just enjoy and be satisfied with that, here and now. And I think through that satisfaction though, you do kind of like more, like the right actions and all that.
Like you kind of get this arrogance that like I can be satisfied anyway, so I don't have to care about things.
Well, but then I think the thing's also like, I can be satisfied anyway. So like, why not do this thing if it seems beneficial, right? Like, why not? If it seems beneficial, I might as well do it because I can be satisfied doing it. It's like, like earlier this week when there was a massive snowstorm or whatever, and it's like, oh, okay, now I gotta, go out and like shovel the driveway.
You pointed out something really good there. It's like, why not do it if I can be satisfied anyway? And so I start doing the right thing, but then like I'm not feeling like really like sad or afraid, but I have like, and I feel still like kind of good overall, but like it's not like proper like jhana or anything because I'm like super angry. That's what I mean. Where it's like that's exactly what I mean. You just said exactly what I mean, even though I didn't understand how to explain it. It's like I just feel angry. It's like do the right thing, but I have to feel this like anger and tension, and it's like I know like I don't have to do this to feel satisfied, but I should still do it, and therefore I'll try and make myself feel satisfied while I'm still doing it, and then it's like I'm all like angry and stuff, and it's just
about anger. Sometimes it comes out of habit. Your habit is to get angry, so it's kind of tendency to get angry, but it's just a tendency. It arises, but you continue it, and you have the choice when it arises to say no, stop there.
That's it, man. That's it.
It's like a temptation of anger. It arises, but you cling to it and you enjoy it. That's it.
Yeah.
So you should notice when that like pick or that stick of anger, when it arises, you see it. It's just a habit. It's my mind doing it by itself.
So this is.
At that moment, you choose, no, I'm not going to do it because it's stupid. And you should reflect also on the situation of that anger. Like reflect on the situation, what are going to be the consequences. Imagine if someone could see you and you getting angry. Maybe you're ashamed of yourself getting angry. Like you do these types of reflections. And when you see it and you're mindful when that anger arises, you catch yourself before you actually cling to it. So
I
Let
think
go.
what I'm getting from what you said is that I need to be more nuanced in my approach, because my approach before was always suffering, no suffering, suffering, no suffering. Whereas now I think I should be able to use like the letting go muscle that I built from letting go of suffering to actually let go of like the emotions, like on the whole. Whereas I think this might have been
From
like
what
spiritual
can I
practicing, because
can
I
I
thought it
just
was
say
process.
something,
Do you remember what
Robert?
I was saying to Alex all the time? I was saying like, oh yeah, that's really good progress, how you're able to feel your negative emotions but like not suffer them and stuff. That's really good, because that's what I was going through at the same time as he was going through it, and I thought that was progress. But now I think I need to like progress more to actually be able to, like, if I'm so good at letting go and I think I'm this big man in my head, I should be able to let go of that and let go of the anger emotion as a whole and let go of the sadness as a whole, and
Hey, Robert.
be like more nuanced, be able to let go of stuff. Yes, go.
I think like this sort of like strategizing and the part of you that wants to come up with like the final solution, like that's what you got to look at, you know, because like our minds like also cling to that, and it's like, okay,
I'm just trying to think
I
of
have
like
this new practice.
not
I have this
it's
new
not a final
practice,
solution. I
and
never
like,
said it was a final solution. I don't believe in any of that
no,
final
I
solution.
know,
I just mean like,
I know, no, I know you do, I know you don't,
yeah,
but
I'm
you're
trying to get my head around
maybe
it.
but maybe you're clinging to it still, you know, because like that's just human nature. Is like, we're like, okay, I have this new thing, and
Yeah,
this
yeah.
is
I'm trying
going,
to develop a new, more advanced approach that
and this is
includes
going to be
more.
it.
It's more like
But
multifaceted
it's
than
simple.
just do
But
Gudu
it's simple.
Naroda.
It's just
Now it's
simple.
anger,
It's
anger
just
Naroda, sadness,
it's
sadness Naroda. It's
just
like
it
complicated.
just needs to
Makes
come.
it
You
cooler.
just need to come back to the present moment and come back to the breath, and just enjoy, you know. That's all that it is, and find freedom and ease and comfort.
That's why I think
And
I'm going to do a retreat now. I think I'm
yeah,
going to do like a, not a retreat, but like a, just like sort of like a home retreat.
what about
And
right
and
now?
just force myself to
You
just
know?
learn to enjoy just breathing.
But what about right now? I mean, like, we're all together. I mean, it's not it again. Like, we tend to cling to this retreat idea, and that's going to be the thing. Is
Yeah, it's
the
another like solution, right? It's like
yeah.
idol
And
worship
I've
in
done this a
Christianity.
lot.
It's like I'm
Where
worshiping the idol of, oh yeah, if I just do a 10-day retreat, my
yeah,
brain will automatically like
yeah,
stop wanting like stuff.
yeah. I know. And
Oh,
Really, man, you don't need retreats. I never did any
yeah.
retreats.
Yeah, you don't. Yeah, and it's just another thing that you can cling to, because then all of a sudden you're going to do a retreat, and then you're going to tell everybody about your retreat, and then you'll be thinking about the next one, and you'll be thinking about the retreat for the
dude,
next
that's
like,
exactly
2
what my
months,
brain was doing.
preparing
I was
for
like, oh yeah, it's saying
preparing
I'm
for the
telling me how much
retreat,
progress I
not
made.
realizing
It was
right
not like me.
right now is the time to be on the retreat, you know, that it's always going like 24 hours a day whenever we wake up to it, you know, that it's always available to us.
Oh, I
And
love that
sort of,
idea, man. That's so empowering. It's like
but
it's
this
always
sort of,
going. It makes
especially
it feel
if
like
you
it's a
like,
video game.
if you're into like Ingram and that, like the big, like one of the big problems with his approach is it's very like retreat oriented, and it's like time on retreat versus time off retreat, and integrating it into your entire life and remembering over and over again that it's always available to us, and there's not this like special thing. So if you go on a retreat, there's not going to be any like special teaching that you're going to get. And like sometimes the conditions, as you heard from Dan, he's like, the conditions were better for me to practice in a hotel in Thailand than they were at the retreat center. You know, like that's the actual reality. This actually happens. I've had a retreat that I left, you know, like this is the actual reality of how it actually is, you know, but our minds cling to it as another idea, and it's another attachment point.
Oh, dude. I think I've kind of grasped like a little bit of what's happening with what you're saying. It is. It's
Well,
like
of
I'm
course it is,
replacing.
because
No,
because
it's
I
like
do the same thing. So
I
in
have
our
these really
minds,
big letting go moments where I make these huge jumps in progress because I let go of this huge attachment that was running my life. Like productivity is one that I let go of recently. Like I just stopped caring about doing work and stuff, like other than my day job, and even though that like makes like no money. Um, but like I just let go of it, and then my automatic tendency is just to like do whatever I want and stuff, and I don't create a problem with that. Like I know I'm saying it like it's a problem. I'm not actually like suffering over it like in my day-to-day life, because I just do it and I don't care because I'm doing the good enough technique, right? But it's like what's the next one? What's the next attachment that I haven't dropped? You know? Like what's the next like Yeah, what's the next?
Well, you can't
what's
prepare
next?
for the future either.
I'm not trying
like,
to prepare for the future. I'm trying.
I know,
to now.
but you can't jump into the future. You
I'm
know,
not.
you only have right now. You know, and like you can just see what's happening with your mind right now and see the patterns that develop. But the helpful thing is the reason I know that you're attached to this is because I get the same thoughts, because our minds all work the same. Like they have the same function.
Yeah.
And so when we're talking to each other, we're giving each other advice, but it's like we're talking to ourselves, you know?
Oh,
And
that's so,
Alex,
that's so
I'm
sweet.
just laughing when Alex is talking because he's saying out loud what we all have thought at one time or another.
Yeah.
Because he's just like, he's able to just say everything that comes into his mind that we've all had a thought at one time or another. Because our minds
Yeah, I was like
function the same
laughing.
way.
He was like, that's like
You know?
exactly what it's like for me. He
And
was like, I had a
and
week where everything was
but it
perfect.
can change, though. Like the key is to see that like it can change, you know, and like we have the choice to wake up to it whenever we want to, you know, that maybe you have like a couple of those thoughts and then you wake up to it, and like the time period between waking up to it gets like shorter and shorter.
I like that. I like that. I like that. I like that. I like what you
Yeah,
said.
no, I think that
I
was
resonate
put
with
like,
it.
yeah, excellently, Joe. Like, again, yeah, it's like you're kind of familiar because it's like, yeah, that thought came up, you know, at one point for me too. Like it arose, you know, like that's just a thing. Like, and I know, like with the Daniel Ingram stuff, right, and that sort of like, oh, you need to kind of get something or whatever, like can come up. I mean, like at least if you, because I like read Mastering the Core Teachings of the Buddha, right?
Yeah, I've read it too.
Yeah. So it's like, oh, okay, like, oh, you need to go on a retreat. I mean, I was always kind of skeptical about the retreat thing, to be honest, but like not always, but you know, I was like, you know, like, do you really need it? Like necessarily, right? If we're coming back to the here and now, it can be beneficial, like it'd be helpful at times.
You need a period of seclusion, and Dhammarato talks about this all the time. Is that you need seclusion, and you need to be able to create seclusion for yourself, but you don't need a retreat. And a lot of times you can get really, really hindered on your practice if you go to a retreat and it's just the wrong teaching. You know, I mean, there were a lot of like times where I was really locked into the Goenka thinking that was very harmful because some of the thoughts there are sort of like, stay with whatever's present, just be aware of whatever is going on right now, don't try to change reality. And I now see that that is not a helpful teaching, and probably not like in line with, actually it's not in line with what the Buddha taught. But that's how it's taught in retreat centers, and then you go to one of these things and then it's shoved down your throat for 10 days, and then you like spend the next couple of years trying to break out of that. So
yeah, exactly. But yeah, having that period, of like seclusion or whatever, like again,
bad habits. You know, that wrong Dhamma teaches you bad habits, to be okay with the suffering, which really is not what the Buddha taught. The Buddha taught there is suffering, there is the end of suffering.
See, this is so key. This is exactly what I was doing. I thought that I was doing the right teaching because I'd hear like all these like enlightened people say that, oh yeah, I still experience negative emotions, but my relationship to it has changed. And I thought, oh well, that's what I'm tapping into. I'm able to experience suffering without suffering.
No, I'm telling you,
but like that's
people
actually like
have that.
another like trap. Yeah.
What did you say,
I was
Mohammed?
fooling myself. Sorry.
Enlightened people should not get these negative emotions, or like
Daniel Ingram's a big fraud. I had someone say that, man. I read like an article.
That's not the goal of the practice, to be okay with the negative emotion. The goal of the practice to be beyond these emotions. These emotions, that there's no reason for them to arise.
I like that, man. Let's bring in the high standards, man.
I don't think you have to say that Daniel Ingram is a fraud either. You don't have to go. You don't have to go that far, because like obviously his book is pretty awesome for like citing so many other books, and it's an awesome reference point. It's just to be aware of where his teachings are not in line with the Buddha's teachings, and the easiest way to do that is to stick with like reading the suttas and just comparing what they actually say to what he's saying, you know.
Joe, can you like send me all the good sutras, because there's like hundreds of them, man. Like I'm not gonna read all that. I'm sorry.
Right, and so that's the thing.
I read a couple yesterday, and like half of them weren't even like relevant to my practice. It was just like some random ass story. I was like, what am I doing?
Oh,
so
excuse me.
I would say I would ask Dhammarato, because he will give you a list of which ones will be relevant for you for your practice.
Perfect, dude. That's perfect, dude.
Because he did that with me, and he said, "Oh, read this one and this one and this one." Yeah.
Oh, excuse me. It's just it's time for me to leave, but it has been like excellent conversation. It's been so much fun, and just
Thank you so much for the help, DJ.
Yeah, Joe, and yeah, Muhammad, and yeah, talking to you again, Robert. It's been great. Like, so yeah, thanks so much, and yeah, we
hope to see you again.
Yeah.
See you soon.
Bye.
See you.
Peace out. Thanks, guys. You guys have really helped me reshape my understanding a lot.
I know that you're sort of beating yourself up because you're like, oh my god, I'm like I like did the wrong practice, because like I have done that too, you know.
Yeah,
but like that's not
helpful.
That's not helpful. It just, you know, like
okay,
you're you know what not to do.
Okay, guys,
you know?
I have a very specific question. Right, relate completely to this present moment. Okay. So I'm kind of hungry right now. So I can go down and eat like candy, or I can eat like some like fruit. They're both like sweet, okay? So it's kind of similar. Actually, fuck, that doesn't work, because I actually want the fruit more than the candy. Never mind. But okay, forget it. My question's stupid. I want the fruit anyway.
Well, one thing that's interesting. Okay, so one thing that's interesting about food, specifically at this time of night, is to look into whether your body actually needs the food or not. Because from what I understand, it's probably like 10 o'clock at night where you're at, right? And,
yeah, it's probably like half past 10.
And like, does your body's getting ready to go to sleep? Does it really need to eat right now? That can be kind of interesting. Or is it habit?
Sometimes
I know, but okay, but this is a thing, and I'm the same way, and my mind talks to me the same way. So, but the nighttime snacking thing, it's a lot of times it's just a habit, you know, and like we know, like our bodies tend to not really need like food right before going to sleep. That you're not gonna wake up hungry. Like that's just I don't know. My experience with it is like just realizing that it's just another thing there, you know, of like I don't know.
I think you do. I think you just can't explain.
Yeah,
but you can explain. It's just not going in because I don't know.
Yeah, it's just hard to explain because, like, okay, so you see the bodily sensations of the eating, and you know, and you just eat for like the nourishment of it, you know. But at this time of the night, you really like. I mean, of course, just eat if you want to. Like, it doesn't really matter. I mean, it's fine, whatever. But I'm just saying from a perspective of like looking into it is like, what is my body like doing requesting food right now, you know, like what are the actual sensations like within me, how much of it is mental and how much of it is actually physical, you know. That's the interesting portion for me, because often it's habit energy and it's mental, and it's not so much physical, you know. But this is as somebody too who I work outside, and like a lot of times I just like forget to eat, and I, you know, that's just I'm used to periods of like not eating. But actually our bodies are kind of like designed for this, because as like hunter gatherers, traditionally we would have come across a lot of food, eaten a lot, and then had periods where we like didn't eat so much. If you like study like other cultures and things like that, like generally they don't do this sort of like small lots of meals thing, you know. There's a reason that like the big meal of the day was always lunchtime for people, you know, pretty much universally. This is just kind of like how our body functions, and so yeah, it's just kind of interesting to look at and, you know, be like, yeah, I'm also this like nocturnal sort of thing. But how much of the nocturnal thing is like the fact that I have access to a computer and I have access to light, you know,
True,
because naturally when you're out camping or something like that, I can guarantee you that you're not nocturnal.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah. I'd be tired if I didn't. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think. Yeah, that's
And
good
so
one.
getting and I don't know. I mean,
My sleep. I'll be honest. My sleep and wake schedule is not consistent. I think that could be important.
Yeah, it can be good to
Like,
work
just
on
go to
that.
sleep when it's.
And
You know,
I'm it's an ongoing process for me too. But I heard from a teacher one time where he was like, okay, after 11 o'clock at night, you need to stop thinking, and just shut down the thinking part of your brain, because like that's just going to be helpful for you.
oh,
And
that's cool. That's like a sleep hack. I'm gonna try that. I'm
yeah,
gonna try that.
so
That's
Does
really
it
I
cool.
mean,
help?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not doing it right now because it's after 11 o'clock at night, but you know, yeah. But he thought it would be helpful for me. So I don't know. Just when I describe, if you look, so the reason that he said it to me, I think, is he was like, if you look at most of the problems that you've had in your life, like what time of the day, like in relationships and things like this, like what time of the day did it occur? And he did have a point there that like
Late
in
in the day. It's
relationships,
late. Yeah.
late at
It's in the
night
evening.
tends to be when a lot of conflict happens in relationships.
Very
So
relatable.
I don't know.
Yes. No,
But
that's
it's
good.
also
That's
good
good.
to not, just not be too hard on yourself and make like new rules and new regulations and things like this, and then
Well, that's the thing with
truly
like
look
the
and
sleep and waking.
into
It's
like
if I make that a rule, then I'll like introduce more people to the system.
yeah, I don't know.
It's helpful, man. It's helpful. It's a complicated sort of problem. It's weird. It's because I have the skill to stop suffering and also to stop caring, because I've recognized clearly the connection between desire and suffering. And now that I've recognized that, my brain has the ability to just like kind of not care about things that it used to not be able to not care about. So it was impossible for me to not care about the future, except for temporarily by gladdening the mind. Now it's possible for me to just like kind of tap into that, like whenever I kind of want to. So it's like that. It's like I've developed.
And you got to keep looking into it though. Is sometimes our minds can like think like, okay, I've already had this realization, I've had this point of wisdom, like time to not have to look into the first noble truth anymore, you know, like,
dude,
and
that's
yeah, it's like a
really,
constant
really,
reminder to like constantly come back to it and like not view it as like baby teachings or something like that, you know, but like it's just you have to just
good. That's
over
good.
and
That's
over
exactly what I was
again
trying to
because
do when
it's
I was trying to like
sneaky.
make this like more complex system of like a method. But it's like that's like that, like you said, that was me sneaking, and like the baby teachings that I thought that, oh, I'm beyond that now. I need the more complex teaching. It's like, no, we return again.
Yeah.
That's good, dude. That's good. That's really helped me. Come up with some more clarity. And the biggest thing that it's helped me with is because exactly what I was trying to do, like unconsciously without recognizing it, which I did in the call, was create a more complicated system for neurodoing individual specific emotions. So this is how I'm going to neurode sadness. This is how to, but no, return to just the basics.
You don't need to focus so much on emotions, you know, like you just don't have to. Like it's one of the main faults that I've seen in my own practice is putting like way too big of an emphasis on my current emotional state, you know, and judging my practice based on what that emotional state consists of.
That's gold. That is gold.
But
dude, that's the whole thing with Daniel Ingram and the Jnanas that sucks. He's like, and this is like kind of what led into my whole like thing of like my first 3 calls with Dhammarato, I was trying to put together a model of how the whole thing was going to like play out and look, because Daniel Ingram's model had 0 correlation to my actual experience until I started doing Dhammara's technique, funnily enough. But like with his thing, he's like, when you're in this jnana, you do this, and when you're in this jnana, you do this, and then you have this whole other problem with like which jnana I'm in, and then you don't ever notice them because you can't notice them until you're already like happy. Like you don't notice them until you're kind of glad.
But the answer is always the same, and it's come back to the present moment and just come back to your breathing and see what's going on in your body and investigate from that point, and investigate from a point of ease and freedom, you know. So it's the same instructions over and over again, no matter what. Like there's no difference, you know. Do you guys, I just wanted to ask, do you know if Dhammarato is like okay again with his neck?
He said 2 to 3 days about Actually, 2 days ago, so he might be. He might be.
Did
I was
something
gonna call
happen?
tomorrow.
Did something
Yeah, he
happen
hurt
with
his neck.
He hurt
Dhammarato?
his neck. I guess it's an ongoing thing, and he just hasn't been taking calls for the last week. So yeah,
He might be available today. If not today, tomorrow. I was gonna do tomorrow, but yeah.
I just thought I should check in because I haven't talked to him in a while.
That's cool, man. That's cool.
But I should check in.
It's tricky, man. Because
How
my mind
often
is
do
so
you talk
tempted
to
to
him,
just
Mohammed?
use. Sorry, go ahead. Go ahead.
Well,
I'm sorry. I'm going on about the same thing. Go ahead.
No scheduled time. I talk to him when I have something in mind to
Okay.
talk to him. About once a month, something like that.
I always like your calls.
Yeah.
I've watched a lot of your calls.
I'm gonna
really?
start watching him. I'm gonna take your advice, Joe. I like Keyshawn's calls. I watch tons of his.
Actually, haven't
but I
watched
haven't seen
any of his.
any of Mohammed's.
Mhm.
Yeah. Do you guys relate to what I mean when it's like it's kind of difficult when you have the skill to stop like suffering? It's difficult not to use it in like a wrong way, not to use it to justify being lazy or taking wrong speech and stuff. Like it makes it difficult. Have you guys ever reached?
You got to get over this worry about being lazy and this like worry about being unproductive and like.
It's not about productivity. I don't give a shit about that.
Okay,
I'm talking about like not being like.
But there's nothing wrong with being lazy. Like there's nothing wrong with like you're, you know, it's okay. Like, you know, as long as you're sitting there and you're safe and at ease, like that's all that matters, you know? Like that's like you just have to keep coming back to that and keep reminding yourself of that over and over again because your mind is going to jump to like, oh my God, what's my future gonna be like? What am I going to get for a job? What am I going to get for a career? How am I going to get enough money? And oh my God, like
you know, actually, that's true, dude. That's true. I was doing that subtly, and I was ignoring it, and I was pretending it wasn't a problem because I wasn't like in the hindrances. But that's true. You can have like negative thoughts without it being in the hindrances. That's true.
I mean, it's always ongoing because it's been shoved down our throats that if we don't have a job and if we're not productive, we're going to starve to death. And that's not reality. You know, it's not reality based. Your reality right now is you're not starving. You're fine, perfectly fine the way that you are. And you've made it to the point where you're at right now. And you don't need to worry so much, you know. And it's the main problem that we all struggle with is just over worrying, you know. And like you just have to catch it, and it can be sneaky at times and catch up with you at different ways, you know, of like you were getting at that when you were like, is it okay to like use my ability to tap into sukha in like bad ways and like that, but it's not possible if you're satisfied like and you're actually feeling sukha and not dukkha. Like it's not possible to like use it for bad or whatever because it's harmlessness, you know. Like this is like one of the key things in Buddhism is harmlessness, you know, is friendship, like, you know, being friends with ourselves first, you know, and then being friends with others, wishing well for others, you know. Yeah.
Thank you.
Because why not? We have the choice right now. We can feel really great, or we can be sort of stuck in a state of worrying.
I feel great. I feel great like whenever I want. Literally, done. That's the problem. Look, it's like I have like zero self-control, and I don't mean that in like some spiritual like no self way. I just mean like I don't control what I do.
That's great. That's great. So like the next time,
because it's not a problem. It's not leading to anywhere wrong.
Yeah,
like,
but
there's
you
nothing
said
wrong.
earlier
Like,
today
I'll die
you were
10 years
like,
younger. I don't give a shit. Like,
yeah, but you said earlier today you were like, oh, after I like am sad and cry for 2 hours. So the next time you're in one of those things and are crying for 2 hours,
yeah, no, do
that. You know?
Oh, dude, this is like so complicated, man. Because I get this ability to be able to do this, and then all of my negative shit. It's complicated because I get the ability, and then I might lose it for 2 hours. I don't know, man. I'm gonna call you back
as long
about
as you
this.
remember.
Yeah.
You could lose it for a couple of years and it wouldn't have gone anywhere because it's always still there, you know? Like the ability to feel okay in the present is always there. It's always with us, right? Like, and you wish that for others. Like that's the main
Actually,
thing.
you're correct. You're correct. I can't do it under all conditions. I can only do it if I lose all my self-control and do whatever. Like
I just want to say, so you're very aware of like how much it sucks like to be stuck in a bad state of mind. So and you also know what it's like to be in a good state of mind, and you know most people are really, really stuck in this other state of mind. So you're wishing them well, you know, like you're wishing for everybody, and as much as you can, you try your best to help them out because like you know what it's like, and this is the sort of thing, you know, but it doesn't turn into trying to save the world, you know?
I get it.
It's just you're just wishing everybody well because it's for yourself.
Okay. So you know? I think that actually you do need to kind of believe in the future because hear me out. If I feel satisfied now, I'm thinking that this is perfect, and that might be true, but I could make it more perfect if I introduce meta practice like you just described. And so let's say in this moment, in this present moment, I'm not talking about future, I'm just saying in this moment, for me to start feeling goodwill towards others takes a little bit of effort, but because I believe it's going to lead to something even better, then I do it. And then it leads to something better, and then my mind retrains itself to get like to the next level, and then they're like
the best way to rewrite your future to be awesome is for it to be awesome right now, because your past will be made up of memories that you're making in the present exactly right now, you know? So the best way to make an awesome future is to
I love that, man. It's like how to have a good
think
life.
about and
like,
to be like, wow, it's so great being able to spend time with my two friends here and chat about the Dhamma and not be doing whatever else I was normally doing before this, you know? How awesome, you know? And I can look back at this and have some good memories to write, you know, in my subconscious, you know? And isn't that nice? And, you know, that's, I don't know.
No, I think it is, I was kind of hoping that I'd get like some quick, easy answer that would resolve my problem. I think this is going to be like a time bomb teaching where I'm going to, what we've said here, I'm going to release into it. And then over the coming days and weeks, it's going to become relevant because I'm going to be trying to implement what you said. And then I'm going to start to figure it out. Like, it's not going to be like, I'll just figure it out now.
Exactly. So we have to be patient with where we're at and allow the process to just go like as it's going. But that doesn't mean that we're not doing anything. Like Muhammad was pointing out earlier to me, where he was like, you have to actively aim for the tranquility. You know, that's a good thing to remember, because you can't just sit around and wait and be like, hey, I'm going to meditate.
It's not good enough. I want the tranquility.
Yeah, and that's going to automatically do it, because if I'm meditating with the incorrect attitude going into it, then it's not going to. But then at the same time, having faith that like if I just keep continuing with this practice, there are some natural conditions. I'm rewiring my brain to think in a super mundane way, in a way that normal people do not think. You know, like that's, if you want a sutta to read Sutta 48. Okay. It lays out 7 different ways that a Sotapanna thinks in a super mundane way compared to a non-Sotapanna, or whatever. I can't.
Stop tempting me.
So it's perfect for you.
My ego loves that. He's
Dhammarato,
like, yeah,
Dhammarato
permanent.
Yeah, exactly. Dhammarato says that about the sutta. He's like, I've heard him talk about 48, and he's like, the people on Reddit should be all over Sutta 48. It lays out exactly what you have to do to be a stream enterer. For some reason, everybody's on Reddit talking about God knows what, and it lays out right there perfectly, Sutta 48, in like 7 lines. These are the 7 things that separate you.
I was on the DHO, and there's like so many threads there where people are talking about their dark nights and stuff, and how they're like, they think it's like a good thing that they're suffering because it's a dark night, and they're like using that book to justify it. And I'm just like, y'all need Dhammarato. Like, get out of the dark night, and then get somewhere good, and then start strategizing whatever the hell.
But you also have to have balance and see where that comes from. And so like a lot of times it comes from people having like negative experiences when they have improper meditation technique, and not understanding why.
Yes, it's like it's partially correct,
occurring.
but it's missing a lot.
Yeah,
Like that,
and so it's like, so I'm doing this a bit wrong, and I'm getting like this result from it. Like, why is it? And everybody's getting the same result. Like, if like I've been involved in the Goenka tradition, so I've seen it, you know, and it's like everybody's stuck in the exact same spot. And you're like, how is this all leading to the same spot? We all have these stories about this awesome experience. But then you talk to people and they are like just completely not functioning right in the exact same way. Well, imagine that. We're all imbalanced in the exact same way. We're all striving way too hard. You know, like that's the main thing with Goenka's thing is he's like, you know, meditate 12 hours a day or 16 hours a day or whatever stupid thing that he tells you to do. And it's totally imbalanced.
I never watch the clock when I meditate. I never do. I just
like
don't.
that. I like that.
Yeah. And I don't think it's it doesn't help the practice. It stresses you out. It makes you stressed. Oh, what time is it? Should I meditate more or less? No. You should enjoy it. You know.
Yeah.
When you play a game, do you catch the time when you play a game?
No.
You don't. Just enjoy it. That's
Yeah.
That's the attitude of meditation.
Yeah, exactly. And what Dhammarato I've heard to say that I've really been trying to take in recently is he's like, when your attention span is no longer there, and you know for yourself when it's no longer there, that's just it. That's how long your meditation should be. You know,
maybe
when
push
you're
yourself a little bit to see how
Yeah, of
you
course.
do when
Yeah.
you're frustrated, and then let go.
Yeah, but you know, like it's like yeah, of course you can't sit there and be like, my attention span is only 5 minutes. But I'm talking more to people who like, I mean, for me, like I've generally gone the other direction of like sitting way longer than realistically I should have been at that point for myself, you know. Whereas like now I can just sit because it's not actually like meditating really. It's just kind of like sitting there. I can do it for like as long as my body like can do it because it's just enjoyable, you know. Like that's the reality of it versus before it was like I knew exactly when it was 55 minutes because like the last 5 minutes were so difficult to make it to that 1 hour mark, you know. And like it's like, man, I could have just relaxed. Like, you know, how many of those 5-minute periods did I waste of just like waiting for the bell to ring, you know? It's like, yeah, it's so stupid.
Meditation is fun. Really, it's fun. I mean,
Yeah.
you can do a lot of things in meditation, a lot of types of concentration, a lot of types of insights. I mean, when you really get good at it, I mean, it's gonna be your personal thing, you know, your meditation. But there are a lot of things that like you
Do you have
investigate.
any tips for things that are interesting that you enjoy?
Concepts.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have any tips, Mohammed?
Oh yeah. Sorry.
I didn't hear you.
Do you have any tips for like different things that you've enjoyed doing?
Well, there's the body. I mean, just get in touch with the body. You can do a lot of stuff with the body. I mean, you can heal yourself. You can relax yourself. You can like imagine. I think Goenka does that. I'm not sure. I didn't
Yeah,
really
it's body
follow
scan.
Goenka.
Yeah.
But I mean, don't. I mean, you can start by touching yourself, but you should get to the point where you mentally you visualize your legs and that kind of stuff, and make things open, make it relax. I mean, you can really relax a lot internally. Be fine being inside the body. You know, when you are inside the body, you can cut off the 5 hindrances very well. Be fine with that, and yeah, I mean, you can get really good insights with that. Like when you get deeper the meditation, you can feel a little bit of space, and you can get insights into perceptions and becomings. I mean, these are the trickiest things. I mean, don't get lost if anything happens, because they can be really tricky insights of perceptions and becomings. And you know, you can get your senses, they get sharp.
What do you mean by becomings?
Your state of you know, we create the sense of I, right? You know, the becoming, it's always happening, really non-stop, and you really can direct it. You see the becoming happening. I mean, to stop it is really difficult, but you can like put it in a certain direction. It's kind of change in the future a little bit. That's the tricky thing. It's like creating yourself that the way you want it to be.
Yes, that's
And
so
like
that's so helpful for me. Like I can create myself to
kind of
not be
thing
like
by
like
holding some
some parent.
different perceptions and
Take control of even more stuff.
there's clinging in it. I mean, this is why these insights they are a little bit tricky because there's clinging in it, so there's going to be suffering.
It's okay.
But it's fun, right?
Yeah, but you got to think of it as like you're suffering like willingly, so it's good suffering, right?
No, it's not. I mean, that's that's why
Oh,
I said
I'm
tricky. Should not. No. There's no good suffering.
okay.
That's no. That's a red line. That there's no good suffering. Suffering is it's always bad. But you kind of understand how these things happen, how you get perceptions and that kind of stuff, and how your body works, how you see your consciousness works, and you can do a lot of healing. I mean, I don't know if you don't feel well, or if you have some pain in your body, you can make it go away. You can do metta meditation. I mean, metta meditation is really awesome. There's one time I really, it was so sweet. One time I did metta meditation. It worked so well, really well. Like it was so sweet, that metta feeling. It was so sweet, and it spread to everyone around. And I think it's mentioned in one of the suttas, the experience waft of goodwill. It was so strong that it's really amazing. And you can see these things affecting yourself and affecting people. I mean, I got people telling me, why are you always happy? I don't know,
Yeah.
I'm just happy. You know, why would I be not happy, right?
Yeah.
Why would I be suffering? I just choose to be happy. You can do a lot of things with meditation. How do you speak to yourself, how you speak to others, and how you shape your personality, kind of thing. I mean, just investigate it,
That's what
discover
I
by
want. That's what I want. Like I want to have the happiness
Interesting.
of not caring about anything and what anyone thinks about me, but still being like a good, like having morality, being a good person who has right speech and to be fair, there's a lot of ego in this as well. There's a lot of like ego in this as well, and like is the way that I want to be. You know?
Well, you
Like,
want to be.
so that's to me going there.
You want to be perfect, so to get there you have to accept that right now you're not perfect, you know, like that you have to like accept the imperfections that you have like within you and work towards that and realize it's an ongoing process that you're working at. That's really awesome, Muhammad, because I've had people tell me that before. Like they're like, "Oh, I'm kind of like annoyed that you like smile so much or something," or they'll be like, "Oh,
that's
like
so
especially
annoyed. I'm so annoyed."
I'm
or
in
if I like
France.
start like giving someone advice, I'm only like 22. You're not really allowed to know how to meditate and stuff, and I think they think I'm some like arrogant asshole, which I am. But like, you know what I mean? Like I'd be like so concerned of it.
Well, I'll get it sometimes that people are like, because I'm in France and they're like, "Oh, all Americans, you guys are just so fake happy," and I'm like, no, I'm actually like just happy, like, you know, like I'm just happy to see you. Like, you know, my neighbor, he's like annoyed that because every day I'm like bonjour, and he like it's like bonjour, like every day, you know, and I think he thinks I'm like making it up or something, and I'm like, no, I'm actually like glad to see you again, you know. Like,
That's so cool though.
funny.
You're so happy that people think you're faking it because you're just such a happy guy. That's amazing, man. That's amazing progress.
Yeah. And then you're just like, whatever. I mean, that's fine. I mean, I've had people literally tell me that it's annoying. They're like, oh, it's like annoying that you're smiling in situations where you shouldn't be smiling. I'm like, okay, I'll like I'll do the opposite. You know, but it just becomes easier. It becomes a habit. It's like, why not? Why not smile? You know. All right, I gotta get going, guys. I'm getting a little bit tired.
Yeah, that's cool, man. That's cool, man.
Okay.
Thank you so much. I really think you should be a Dhamma teacher, Muhammad. I think it's awesome, like listening to your advice and stuff.
That's cool.
So I hope we can talk again soon.
Yeah, I really enjoyed this talk after.
You're so pure, man. I love it. I feel like you're so pure. Like I have all this like ego and stuff. All right, good night, guys.
See you, Robert.
Ciao, ciao.